Ben Eastick, so we meet again. Long time ago, we were at the Silverstone Racing School. I remember being one of your tutors. I don't think I taught you much, but
John Watson Performance Centre.
It was.
Remember, right? That's still got the bag.
Yeah, exactly. So you went on. You left school. You went to race all kinds of classics and historic stuff. You were famously known for the Jaguar, but hey, you switched allegiance. Is that Connolly Hyde that you're sitting in? You seem to be in the world's only single seater with a luxurious cockpit. Tell me about
Well,
it.
it's not very luxurious inside actually. The seat's pretty nice, but it's more like a 70s Formula 1 car than sitting there.
70s Formula 1 car. But am I right in thinking that the guts of this were donated by some poor unsuspecting Silver Shadow? Is that right?
Correct, yeah. So this was the prototype for the Silver Shadow and Bentley T series in 1965.
Did your dad start the project off? It's taken a long time to bring it to fruition.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Basically, there were two prototype chassis that went around the world, showing the technology for the Silver Shadow, which at the time was revolutionary, disc brakes, independent suspension. And after their useful life, they went back to Crewe, and because Dad was a Bentley racer, he knew everyone at Crewe, so he asked Sir David Plastow, who was the chairman, if he would help build him a Bentley race car with all the latest technology, and of course Rolls-Royce wouldn't allow Bentley to go racing, so it was completely against the Rolls-Royce norm.
Got it.
And they agreed to do it.
Okay, seems like a bit of a mad car to race for me because for a start it's about 15 feet long. I mean,
Well, it has to be the same wheelbase as the Silver Shadow, the Bentley T series.
does that not mean?
Bentley race.
Does that not mean at some circuits you're almost arriving at one corner while the back end of the car is still leading the last corner?
Kind of feels like that. I think Simon Taylor said it's the longest wheelbase racing car he's ever seen.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think it looks like you're trying to race an Arctic truck. But,
It does shrink on you, I can tell you.
so let's talk spec here. What size is the motor?
Okay, it's a 6.2 litre V8
Right.
with a supercharger up front.
With the supercharger.
With a supercharger.
You didn't think you had quite enough torque?
Well, Dad wanted a modern blur Bentley, but it's actually a bit more technical than that. So Rolls-Royce at the time, Bert Hadley, who was on the experimental department of Crewe, they were looking originally at turbocharging, but Rolls-Royce hadn't sorted out turbocharging. Then they looked at fuel injection, but again Rolls-Royce didn't find any advantage over the normal carburettor setup. So Dad went with supercharger.
Got it. I don't think in any way, shape or form you could call it a modern Bentley. I'll just point that out to you. Modern maybe compared to...
It was at the time. I mean, when it came out in 1976, it was revolutionary.
Okay, fair. What about, you and I are old racers, so, how does it handle? Be honest, you can tell me.
It's actually pretty docile with the supercharger. When it has the Holly V8 on instead, it shakes and it's horrible. But with the supercharger, everything is very linear. Okay. And the back end is the Salisbury Jaguar back end, independent. So actually, it's pretty practical.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it terrifying in the wet?
No, funny enough. It's
Docile.
lovely in the wet.
Honestly?
Yeah. I did a test at Silverstone last December, and I thought, oh my God, this is going to be awful, but it was lovely. It was very predictable.
This has undoubtedly been one of the stars of the show, this last classic, absolute superb scramble meeting here at Vista Heritage. But everybody asks about it, where they can see it racing. Where can you see it racing?
Well, we blew up the gearbox this year, which was always the weak point, because it's got an R-type Continental, which can only handle 200 brake horsepower. We're pulling currently 400 pounds of torque, and that's with low compression ratio. So we've got to sort out the gearbox and design new catering and new internals for it. But next year we're going to try and run with the Historic Grand Prix Cars Association, maybe
Cool.
alongside the Indy Racers. That would be pretty cool.
Everybody loves to see it out working.
But we've got to get running first before we start racing.
Having said that, it is opened its account with some alacrity, because I do understand that it's already being nominated for a bit of silverware. Tell me about that.
Yeah, the prestigious RAC Awards, they have a Restoration of the Year, and it's been nominated for that, so hopefully we'll get to the top three.
Okay, and finally, tell me about where we are now. Classic Performance Engineering. What have these guys brought to this project?
They basically followed my letter of restoration, which most companies wouldn't do. Only my father and myself really know the spec of the car and how it should be. So they did everything I asked them to. And where they went wrong, I said, no, you've got to go back and redo it, which they did, no quibble. You wouldn't really get that with many people. They're prepared to listen to how it should be, and they followed it to the letter, which is incredible. And lovely people to work with.
Perfect. And Ben Eastick, I think this car has great things ahead of it. Certainly everywhere we go with the car, it turns heads and people come and ask about it. Same at the Scramble, everybody coming into our workshop to have a look around. First question they ask me, what's that?
Yeah, it's like no other Bentley.
It's like no other race car, no other single seater. And I've got to say this, right, rather you than me.
Well,
it looks to me somewhat hairy.
She did try to take my father's life at one stage, but yeah, you pay her a bit of respect, I think, and she's okay.
I think she could bite you if you didn't have that precaution.
I've got old head on the wide shoulders.
Keep it on the shoulders.
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Ben Eastick, Classic Performance Engineering. Look out for him in 2020, he's going to be going large.